It's amazing how you could get a lot of ideas. Basically, maybe you doing anything at all. Scmaece was born out of an idea where three friends were having a cup of tea, and this particular guy, let's call him like Mark, came up with the idea that, oh guys, there is this thing in my head. I want to start a foundation. And the funny thing is, how can three broke guys, fund a foundation? So after I came up with the idea, like, foundation, are you okay? Do you know how much it will cost us to even start a foundation? And then he said, it's better we should just come up with an organization where we'll be able to do stuff on our own and we'll be able to handle it no matter how small it is. So three of us were like, okay. Funny enough, with a cup of tea, and normally after I used to buy all this peanut butter and bread, you could imagine we're feasting. We even hold events with tea. We call it tea party. That was a fun day, sha. So when the idea came up and we decided not to go with the foundation, we decided to do something like, okay, let's just say an organization where we'll be able to handle it no matter how small the cash is, and it will be from our pocket. We don't know where it will lead us to, but at least let's do something. So, well, the idea was born out of a period when Lexi lost his sister. His sister had sickle cell and she died. So it was a moment for us that we all reflect on sometimes when we think about it. But he wanted to do something like, okay, why are we just going to keep quiet? Probably if people have information about this sickle cell like this, we can save life with it, so that we'll not be able to go through what we go through in our own side and, you know, have that bad experience he had losing his sister. So we said, cool, we'll go with it. Scmaece was born. That Sickle Cell Media Enlightenment Center, JOS. Basically what we do is just advocacy, you know. We go to schools, we enlighten them about sickle cell, we tell people about sickle cell, and we disseminate information out there regarding to sickle cell. So, you know, you could just place one or two things together when you look at sickle cell born out of science, and at the same time you're coming to talk about how the sickle cell with you know, this street science thing kind of makes, you know, one party just believe, okay, if sickle cell is born out of science, then where did you get the idea from that? Some people are spiritually attacked, or maybe your family or village people are doing you from somewhere, you know. So we get to, you know, find a balance to that. This is Street Science, the podcast, and my name is Venfa. So how do people know that someone is going to die at the age of 19, 20, 21, 22? You know, come to think of it, there was one time my doctor was telling me, when you get to the age of 22, you get better. When you get to the age of 23, you get better. Somebody was looking at me at the moment and was like, oh my God, this guy is going to die with the way this crisis is going. Where do you get that idea from? I mean, there are people that have AA and they are dead. Or rather, some people are dying right now. No, let's not think about that. So, cliches about sickle cell. What have you heard? What did you know? What have you experienced? I mean, have you ever seen anything happening in front of you and you just start thinking like, how is it going to be handled? How is it done? What am I going to do? You get confused at that moment. You know, there was one time growing up, I remember this guy then in Lagos. So this guy goes to church, select church. I'm not trying to downplay them, but there was one time this guy came back home. There was this mark in his body, and guy, what happened? It took him days before he could explain. So I get to find out this guy collect serious flogging. Serious flogging. They were flogging the Ogbanje, or is it the sickle cell out of him? that he's possessed and all those sickness, he gets crisis, they just see it as he's possessed. They beat the hell out of this boy. They beat Shaggy, they beat ta out of him. But at the end, I think with a little bit conversation with one or two people, she should see the doctor. She get to understand that sickle cell is genetic and there is nothing they can do. You can beat this boy from today till tomorrow. You know, it goes far back as people drinking lizard urine, eating tortoise. I remember one time they said I'm going to eat tortoise. I'm a rockman. We like meat. But eating tortoise, I mean, that cute kind of, you want to eat animal that is cute like that. You know it's ugly on the outside, but come to think of it, it's a pet you like to have at home. So we're told we'll eat, I was told I'll eat tortoise meat, and I was like, wow, this will be the first time. But why do I have to eat tortoise meat? Because I want to get better. So these are some of the reasons why we just felt it's better we should come out there, explain to people and let them know that anything that has to do with sickle cell is genetic. You know, there is a point too that there is this herbalist I've heard of that used to come to Jos or is in Jos, that there is this lining in your mouth, they have to pull it out. That if they pull it out from the child, then sickle cell will stop. I mean, this has to do with your blood. It's not from the mouth, or it's from the cases we've heard that at least they are doing, or maybe that they were successful in helping with sickle cell is changing your bone marrow, and it has to be with somebody in your family that has the AA blood. We've heard stories of the same thing not being successful. We've also heard the ones that were successful. But the bone marrow transplant is the only thing we know that happens, and yes, you have a 70-30 chance in some cases, you have a 100% chance in some cases, and you have a 50% chance in some cases, which, you know, people differs with their stories. And it is not street science that help in discovering this. It's science of medicine, science of hematology, science of gene editing therapy that helps people discover this. Science of bone marrow transplant, not the street science. In short, let's even talk about how street science have helped in causing us problem in our community. So who are the street scientists? Let's talk about the street doctors. How they've affected and polluted people's mind about sickle cell. Who are these street doctors? Your neighbors, your pastor, your imam, your colleagues in the office, at work, people around you. They've created chaos and putting so many things on people's mind about sickle cell. Somebody can just see your son and say, hey, sickler, this one, your sickler. Haba.